What is going on, YouTube? We're back with another Water Change Wednesday. I'm joined with the puppies, as you can see, both of them down there, playing with toys that I just got them because I just got back from the fish store, or the pet store, I should say. Let's see. So, today, we may be joined by a special guest, depending on when he gets here. If you didn't know, my friend Kevin Kelly, who is a professional aquascaper, he is actually on his way here because we've been working on a couple projects, one of which is right there. Wait, right there. It's so hard, like, figuring out where, so yeah, it's right there, that tank that's on that little stand there. That is going to be a masterpiece, if I will say so myself. He, of course, well, him and Alex, one of my buddies, they both escaped that tank the other day as far as the hardscape, and they will be soon doing, we're going to do a dry start method on it, and then from the dry start you'll see a couple plants, and then yeah, it'll be really cool. So today, I'm just sharing on Facebook, so just give me just a second. We are going to be talking about some new updates to the website. What's up, that boy Vel? Madfish Diva joined. Austin says he's getting a CO2 system soon. Craig Moss, what's up, Kyle? Really, honey? With the squeaker? I'm sorry, guys, for the squeaker, but there's not much I could do. Reef Tank 20G says, do you prefer nano or larger tanks? Actually, you'd kind of be shocked, but I prefer the smaller tanks now. After seeing this rimless tank, the small rimless tank that I have right here, I can't get my finger on the right spot. There we go. It's awesome. I see that tank has highlight. Yeah, that tank has incredible light on it right now. It's featuring a Twin Star. I think it's Twin Star 600S, if I remember correctly. Yeah, and it's getting pounded with light. Right now it's not full yet. Like I said, we're going to be doing a dry start method, so it's going to be really cool. Honey, stop it. So, couple things to note, right? Some updates to the website that we did and whatnot. We have new hardscape options available. At least right now, it's only 5 things. So they're 5 pre-made Dragonstone scapes right now. One featuring wood and Dragonstone. The rest is just Dragonstone. And you can buy those on the website. They're pre-made. They're in a 2-gallon cube. And it's just kind of what we had. This was the tank right here. It's a rimless tank. This is what everything was made in. But you could essentially scale that up to probably anywhere between a 5 to 10 gallon and still get a pretty cool scape out of it. The reason why we did the small tank... Oh, why am I out of focus? Focus. Nope. There we go. Now focus. The reason why we did the nano is because we really just... That's all we had on hand. We will soon be doing larger tanks and doing more pre-made scapes. They're actually called signature scapes up on the website, and what they are, actually, it's not me, I didn't make any of them. They're actually the professional aquascapers that I was just talking about. Alex and Kevin will be making some. Alex did all the ones on the website. Alex actually won the Reefapalooza Fresh Fest aquascaping competition that was held this year in New York, and he beat out the previous champion of last year's event, as well as Kevin, which Kevin is a phenomenal aquascaper, so Alex is definitely a force to be reckoned with. And also numerous other scapers there that are very talented. So Alex placed first for one of his tanks, and you know, he wanted to come and hang out with us the other night while Kevin's working on his Aquatic experience tank and getting some stuff ready for that. But he put together some scapes. They're available on the website. You go ahead and purchase those if you're interested. We will also be doing 2 other things that will be launching very shortly. So that's the signature scape brand. Basically, they're going to be pre-made scapes. You can buy them, throw them in any size tank you want. The second thing will be custom scapes. And essentially, Alex, Kevin's friend Christian, and some other people that we may get involved can essentially build you a custom scape, or essentially myself with stone and rock that we have, or rock and wood that we have available. This will be available probably within the next 3 weeks or so on the website. I'm still working on the page. I want to make sure it's all good and ready before we before you don't launch it, but you will be able to kind of tell us what size tank you have, what you're kind of going for, if you have any inspiration, what you're, you know, what you want it to overall look like, and somebody will put it together. You could either pick, or you could just whoever gets to it will essentially do it for you. So if you have any size tank, really, that's for, you know, we could go down to nanos, or we could do larger tanks. We have huge rocks, just absolutely huge rocks. And matter of fact, I'll show you one while we're live streaming here. Dust. So if you have a big tank, this thing is huge. This probably weighs a good 20 pounds, this rock. Maybe 25 pounds, but we have big rocks. Whew. That was dusty. Whatever. So, yeah, if you need hardscapes, we got you covered now. That's Dragonstone. Just in case anybody was asking. Dragonstone's red, reddish yellow, orange, those type of colors. Some are actually purple that I have in the other tank over here. And let's see. And we also have wood. We'll have Cerio stone. We'll have a bunch of other hardscapes coming in soon as well. So, yeah, those will be there. Let's just take a look at a couple questions that came in. Thanks for the root tabs. I doubled the number of root tabs next to my Amazon sorts. Well, that was actually accident, famous. Somebody double packed yours. I had to yell at somebody for that, but it's okay. Do you guys glue the supplies together to make them scales for sale, or the scapes for sale? No, so we don't glue them together. Essentially, we kind of formulate what the scape could look like. We package everything up and we send it out. It's up to you to kind of recreate it. We'll have two pictures on the website, both a front view and a top-down view, which is on the website now, so you can kind of see how some things are placed the way they are. You know, but ultimately it's up to you to recreate it. If you need help, of course, we'll be there to assist, you know, in any kind of manner that you need with the scapes. But a lot of them, I feel like, with both views, you can kind of get an idea for how things are supposed to go, and then have fun with it and make it, you know, make it your own. It doesn't need to be exact, but we kind of want to just inspire you and say, listen, here's some hand-selected stuff that we picked out, we put together in a nice package, and then it's up to you to do what you want with it, kind of thing. Want to be a hassle trying to recreate exactly what you Aquascape? No, that's exactly it. So it's really up to so it is pre-made, and we look at it to remake it. Yeah, essentially. So you'll get, you know, a box of whatever was pictured. That's what you're getting in the box, and then you can recreate it how you want, or use the stones and wood, you know, whichever way you feel best suits you. What is your favorite floating plant? Red root floaters, and I actually have a ton of them. If they're not available on the website, wait till either tonight or tomorrow. They'll be there. I'm trying my hand at aquascaping by putting together a jungle on one side of my 55-gallon. Nice. Okay. Can I use a balloon time helium tank as a CO2 tank? I don't think so. When will you restock most of the out-of-stock plants? So we normally restock Wednesday and Thursday night. One of those days. Right now we don't have a new shipment coming in this week, but I do have lots of plants left over that I know aren't up on the website, plus a lot of stem plants, and some stem plants that aren't even on the website yet. I recently got a ton from hobbyists, and they're all ready to go, so I need to start creating product pages. I'm going to spend some time tomorrow doing that, so let's see what Instagram's saying real quick. Guess just bad luck with saying that. Any inputs at a 20 long? I just got my first one. Just want to know your thoughts. 20 longs are great tanks because they're easy to light. Yep, I have sand in a couple tanks and it works great. I have sand in my goldfish tank behind me over there, and they work great. I have trumpet snails in there that help turn over the sand, and it actually has kept the goldfish tank, the sand is all white. Like, it has not gotten that nasty brown color. I haven't done any maintenance. No water changes, no gravel vacs, nothing. That tank is spectacular. It all goes to, hey, really, guys? Really? It all goes to show you if you get the right mixture of stuff. So I got Malaysian shrimp on snails, I got a pleco, and I got some Nerite snails that clean the glass. I've had to do nothing to the tank. So. Can you tell me why Seachem is better than Eco-Complete? Hey! These dogs. Hey! Stop it! Hey! Walter, mess her up. Alright, anyway. Oh my god, these dogs. I'm gonna beat them. Somebody writes, yo, Justin, are you gonna kick me out of here if I respond to people here? Some of you may know that. I actually deleted that post, but yeah. Anyway, feel free to respond, whether you're a competitor of mine or not. I don't hold any prejudice to anybody. People make me laugh. Let's see. So, is Seachem better than Eco-Complete? So it really matters what you want to use. So in my opinion, and I'm not a scientist, I haven't tested this out, I haven't seen which one works better. I will just explain from my personal experience with both. I've had experience using Eco-Complete. Seachem Dark sand, it's like Seachem Dark, it's not the sand, but it's dark and it's fine, but it's not the sand is a lot finer. And then I've also used Seachem Fluorite Clay, or the red, which is a much chunkier, it's almost like a gravel. So, which one I like the best? I like Seachem Dark the best. The reason being is it's finer granules than Eco-Complete and Seachem Red Clay. And that's just because when you're planting things with either Eco-Complete or the other one, they tend to usually rise up out of the substrate. It's a bit tricky to get them to stay at first. So with Eco-Complete, I actually mixed it with Black Diamond Blasting Sand, which is completely inert. It has no nutrients, but you get a 50-pound bag for 10 bucks, so it's really cheap. So I put that in with about 3 or 4 bags of Eco-Complete and just mix it around so there's different textures, and the sand really helps it to stay down. A lot of people report that Eco-Complete loses its effectiveness after a while. I don't know. I haven't tested it. I just know that I'm still growing plants no problem. Of course, I am putting in root tabs. I am dosing fertilizers. And that's just because I feel like you should do that. But you can grow plants without it. Seachem Dark seems to be exactly like Eco-Complete, except it's much finer. And like I said, it allows plants to root better. The red clay version of Seachem Fluorite is good. I definitely see nice plant growth. I have no issues in that manner, but it's just a pain in the butt to get things to stick. So out of those three, Seachem Dark is the better option, I feel, but that's really up to you. I also have aqua soil, which I haven't tested yet. We're actually in the new tank set up behind me, right there, right there. Shush, right there. We're going to be testing out aqua soil and seeing how that works. Shush! I saw a guy use a CO2 fire extinguisher for his tank. Never see them. What the hell is that dog wearing and why? They have harnesses on. That's just because we got him from a walk and they don't mind wearing them. So, is the Hygrophila odora coming? I actually have some of that growing. It's one stem that I'm waiting for it to like really grow well. So, do you have one large pump supplying aeration to all the tanks? So no, I'm actually running right now. It's only in 3 tanks that are over here against the wall that you guys can't see. Those have 3 air stones that I'm testing aeration at night just to see how it works. And then the other tanks do not have aeration at night yet. And right now I'm just using regular air pumps, mainly because they're easier for me to set up at the moment than running PVC pipe around the whole room. And doing that, I'm going to wait till I have the rest of all the tanks set up and where I'm going with them before I run a giant system around the ceiling. Maybe Dog has an opinion on the soil. Maybe he does. Or she does. She's talking. Now she sees me and she knows I'm talking about her. Guaranteed she's going to run over here. Maybe not. What's up, the Fish Life? Let's see what people are saying on Instagram. What's your thoughts on liquid carbon? After hearing what my friend Kevin Kelly explained to me about it, and Kevin is a chemist, so I trust his opinion and situation on it. I personally would not use it in any tank, and nor have it anywhere near any animals as well. If you look it up, you'll see what I'm talking about. So I would definitely not use Flourish Excel. It's not a liquid carbon substitute. Actually, what it does, from his explanation, and I'll quote him, it essentially slows down or deforms plant cells, so they need less CO2, and that's why you see them grow faster. It's not essentially adding carbon into the water like most people think it does. It doesn't break down and make CO2. That's just not what it does. It actually just inhibits cell growth, so that way it needs less CO2 to grow, and therefore, yeah. So, what's up, Kayla? How's it going? When it gets big, trim it and send it. That's the type of sand you used in Lucky's tank. Yeah, I used white sand in Lucky's tank, not the Tractor Supply. There are CO2 extinguishers that actually where I bought mine. It is very cheap. Oh, I didn't know that. That's interesting. Any issues with adding red natural crafting clay? I've never done it, but I hear many people do to introduce clay. You could also just use root tabs like I saw on my website. The Vital tabs, they have 25% clay as well as 75% mineralized topsoil, along with other nutrients that are essential to plant growth. So, you know, you get 25 for $10. They last anywhere between 3 and 6 months, depends on how much plant growth or plants you have in your overall tank. You need to do a dog pack, do some plants on the floor, and see which your plants, or which plant your dog goes for first. That's actually not a bad idea. My tiger lily bulb sprouted. Moved the bulb, and another one sprouted. Is the bulb itself a case for seeds? Not that I know of. That's kind of strange. How can I get my newest Nano to grow faster? I'm low tech now, but I'm not opposed to going high tech until I get jungle undergrowth. I'm going for. If you're just trying to get a Nubis to grow faster, I wouldn't change anything. It's just gonna grow that slow. That's how a Nubis is. It doesn't grow fast like most plants. Even if you were to add CO2 and highlight, you're gonna see very little significant improvement in their growth, and you'll actually wind up getting more algae on the Nubis and possibly burning the leaves to the point where you'll lose existing growth until they regrow. What if you've been using Excel and stopped now? Well, I mean, what's going to happen is your plants will obviously change because they're used to being stunted, and therefore their whole physiology will probably change. It's really, I mean, I personally wouldn't use it after hearing what he explained to me. There's also other cases of it being linked to bad things in pets. So I've decided to completely stop using it. I was using it in one tank to try and kill some algae that's going on in the tank. Figured it might work, but I'm just going to deal with it the old-fashioned way, and that's yell at it until it disappears and or get some shrimp to take care of it. Why would plants not grow and roots turn black? I have good light, good CO2, and I'm doing EI method in EcoComplete. John, that's a good question. They wouldn't grow and the roots turn black. One, how long have they been in the tank? It's possible that if they're new, it could just be adjusting. I'm getting some stem plants in on Friday. Should I trim them up and then stick them in? Any suggestions on how to plant? Well, if they're stem plants for me, they were all grown submerged. They're not grown immersed, so they're pretty much ready to go. There should be little melting to them. There will always be little melting. A lot of people, they float stem plants, or really any plants, when they first get them in. One, they're closer to the light, so they get better photosynthesis going, and it allows them to kind of adjust quickly to your tank. But you can just kind of put them right down in the substrate and let them go to town. They'll lose a lot of their bottom leaves, start sending out roots, and there you go. Let's see. How should I trim my Madagascar lace plant? I personally wouldn't trim it. Madagascar lace and most other bulb plants, what they do is they go through certain periods where they send up leaves. Then they go... Basically, in the wild, they're used to seasonal changes. And there's a dry season and a wet season. So what happens is when it's starting to be a dry season, they will absorb their leaves and use that energy and store it in their bulbs. So when you see a leaf starting to turn brown, I would leave it. Now, if you're talking about trimming it because it's just too big, trim the outer leaves all the way down by the bulb as close as you can to it without cutting the bulb or cutting the rest of the leaves. And that would be how I would trim it. So, but if they're getting brown until they're complete mush, I would just leave them. They're going to be reabsorbed into the bulb. Duopondraton bovinianus have lifespans. So they're a bulb plant, and just like Madagascar lace, they're going to go through that period where they're trying to reabsorb energy into their bulb. They will die back a lot, and typically there's a practice that I haven't looked thoroughly into it, but I do know that some bulb plants you're supposed to actually take out of the water and just keep them in a moist area for a couple months, and then put them back in your tank and let them regrow to simulate what they go through in the wild. But I haven't had an Apodroton bovinianus long enough to see if that's, 9 months when it starts to reseed and come back and anything like that. Hey-o, any luck on your staghorn algae? It's pretty weird, or it's weird. It's only on my valves that is short, and the tall valve doesn't have any. So I believe mine are due to too high flow because they're only growing on the filter outputs of each filter and only on the leaves that are directly close to the filter. So it's too much flow in my case. What I'm doing is I'm just cleaning off the filters as they go. I actually have right here on my desk, actually, which I just haven't gotten around to, the ball valves that I need to install on my filter outputs so that way I can tone down the flow. Luckily for me, what's happened, or I guess unluckily, or I don't know, the pond pumps that I'm using to filter each tank here has actually gotten somewhat clogged a bit, so the flow has been dramatically reduced. So, I mean, it's probably a bad thing. It's probably going to burn out the pump quicker, but it is reducing the amount of algae. In one of the tanks, it's completely disappeared, and in the other ones, I definitely don't see as much as I did. So I mean, that's happening. But I've also seen that it's from either too little or too much CO2 as well, just like black beard algae. But what I would do is I would just try and pull off as much as you can, Dave. Don't leave it be for too long. Welcome from greetings from Indonesia. Welcome, welcome. What plant was it that the roots turned black? Yeah, what plant was it? Does those yeast DIY CO2 work well, or is it just better to get a CO2 tank? Honestly, if I was gonna get CO2, I'd just go with the whole CO2 setup. It's gonna cost a little bit up front, but it's gonna be cheaper in the long run. And and once you see CO2 and how it works, you're gonna really want more of it. So, when getting new plants, how long should I expect for the adjustment time? Each plant is different. So slow growing plants are slower at it. So like Crips and Anubis and Java fir, and so they all grow very slowly, so you'll see the changes slower in them. If it's a faster growing plant like a stem plant, you'll see the changes relatively quickly, probably within a week or two, and that's about it. It all depends on the plant. What's up, JW? Think Tank, what's going on? Any idea why my crypt leaves are melting, getting holes in the leaves? My substrate is eco-complete, and it's been in the tank for 3 months. Jenny, did anything change in your tank? It's possible if there was a slight temperature change or lighting change, your lights could be going bad. That's possible. Or they're just running out of nutrients if you're not dosing anything. What's up, everyone? I've been lurking in the background, cooking and doing water changes. What up, the fishy mailman? Can I have plants in my quarantine tank? Will meds hurt them? Some meds will. You gotta research the particular med. Gonna be doing an awesome Aquascape tank here soon for 500 subscribers. Nice, JW. My Apongeton are bare, no leaves at all, getting a white film on it. If the white film, if the bulb is still hard, it's good, but I would get that white film off of it. If you could actually, you know, kind of brush it off, maybe grab a toothbrush and get in there and brush it off, that would be awesome. That would be really good for it. I would advise to do that because the film could be early signs of bulb rot, which will effectively destroy your plant. It could also just be beyond point of no return. Sometimes that happens. So, it really depends. Nope, nothing's changed since I noticed that I put in a vital tab, though. Well, if you put in a vital tab, it may be reacting to new nutrients and possibly just kind of adjusting to it. If you put it too close, it could essentially, like, you don't want to put the root tab directly under the plant because that could actually cause root burn. So you want to put it a little bit further out. So hopefully you moved it, you know, a bit further away and not put it directly under it. If not, it could have just been, you know, changing chemistry from the root tabs. That's also possible. Or it just went through a weird phase. I've had crypts melt on me for no apparent reason. What can I use to lower the pH of my plant's aquarium that will not harm the plants? Wood will lower it, as well as CO2 actually lowers it. So you can do both of those. Let's see. Can I plant moss without CO2? Yep. Moss is pretty good. Best plants for beginners. Moss balls is one. Water Sprite, Anubis, Java Fern, Amazon Swords. What else? Banana plants, Red Tiger Lotus if you want some red plants. Red Tiger Lotus and Dwarf Aquarium Lily are really easy red plants as well. I'm thinking CO2. Is it complicated? Not quite, but do be aware you can kill your fish. I've killed 3 of my Bose bunnies one time because I accidentally let the CO2 go for too much. So it's really just tricky. What would the best carpeting plant for, or what would be the best carpeting plant for an aquarium? Well, it really depends on your setup. So I always recommend, if you're just trying to get any sort of carpet plant, you don't have a CO2 and you don't have a ton of light, dwarf 4-leaf clover. Those are the easiest plants to grow, in my opinion, as far as a carpet. It spreads out all its own. It's almost like a weed, and I recommend it dramatically. It's a really good plant. If besides that, though, you could also try Dwarf's Edge, Stargani Repens, Micro Sword. Although I've never had the best of luck with Micro Sword, but tons of people tell me it's easy. Hydrocodal Japan, or yeah, Hydrocodal Trapeda Japan, which I actually just posted on Instagram today as a little care sheet that I'm doing now. I'm doing one a day on every plant we own. Super easy to grow as well. You could try a cup filled with fluvial stratum to lower the pH as well. I heard fluvial stratum does lower pH, and aqua soil as well. Any suggestions on preventing trumpet snails from uprooting small crypts? Ooh, that's going to be tricky. I maybe put small pebbles around where the plant is to kind of like hold it in place so that way they can't uproot it. That could be an option. I know if you use rocks when it comes to, you know, bigger fish like cichlids or anything like that, you could also do it. Justin, the Ruby Red Val is doing great. I sent you pictures on Facebook Messenger. I actually saw it. I just didn't get a chance to respond. I'm glad it's doing good for you. It's Ruby Red Jungle Val is my favorite just because it's hardy, it grows really well, and if you have high light, it turns red. If not, it still grows, and it's just a better looking Val plant than all the other ones. Italian Val would be my second most favorite. I'm actually considering just getting rid of Jungle Val entirely off the website, just the Jungle Val, the regular species of it, because it doesn't do as well as the other ones do, for me anyway. And I feel like people have better experiences with the other ones that I mentioned than the regular jungle bell, and I just feel like it's a waste of space, time, and money. What CO2 regulator do you recommend me getting? I'm thinking of getting the basic Aquatic regulator with solenoid. I hear lots of people love them, and I hear lots of people hate them. I had bought one. It didn't work for what I was doing, but then again, I was trying to run all these tanks off of it. It's not meant for that. So if you're trying to run multiple tanks, not going to work. If you're trying to run 1 or 2 tanks, I'm sure it'll be fine. So, complicated competition. Banana plants are easy to grow too. That they are. Banana plants are super easy. What floating plant would you recommend for my shrimp tank other than duckweed? Dwarf water lettuce or frogbit. You could even do red roof floaters and Sylvinia. They all have really nice root systems, so you'll see the shrimp, it'll, you know, scurry on and hold on to the roots, and then pick off detritus, because detritus will actually get stuck to the roots as water circulates. Why did you delete that story? Dustin mods need to be exposed. It's not even Dustin's mods, it was Dustin. Dustin blocked me. He blocked me on the YouTube. Let's see. What's the average price of your plants? It really depends on what plant. They go anywhere. I think my cheapest plant is like $3 all the way up to, I have some that run $10, $15 depending on the plant. Could green kamama grow well without CO2? I believe so. It's a very quick growing plant. Do 4-leaf clovers need CO2? Nope. They just won't carpet as fast, but they will still be fine. What effect does tourmaline have in an aquarium? I'm not sure what that is. What's the difference between Vital and Vital X? So Vital X is a more concentrated formula. It's more geared towards medium and highlight tanks, where it really just has a lot of extra nutrients for fast-growing plants. So if you're trying to do like a high-tech tank with CO2, get Vital X. If you're not, you know, doing all that, you could just do regular Vital. Or somebody asked, you know, can I get Vital X and just use less of it? You could do that too. But keep in mind that in some cases you may get algae growth because there's going to be a lot of excess nutrients depending on your plants, basically. So, what's up, Mary Beth? Just got back my laptop. Nice. The moss keeps disappearing from the ledge. How do I secure it better? Get some fishing line. That's honestly the best way, if not zip ties. You could zip tie it to it as well. I have a Greenleaf Aquatic CO2 kit sitting in the basement. I'm scared to set it up. Oh, damn. I have contortion melt. It is growing more horizontal than vertical. Is that normal? You're going to have to send me a picture of that. What do you mean by horizontal? Why did Dustin block you? I don't know. I was answering questions for people in his live stream while I was explaining stuff. And I got blocked and messages were deleted. So I don't know. I'd never once like said, hey, come check out my site, because I'd never do that. That's scummy, but I do appreciate hanging out with people and helping out. So I don't know. I don't know why he blocked me. He also blocked me on Instagram, or at least from his stories. I can't see his stories, so. How often should one replace root tabs? So anywhere between 3 and 6 months. It depends on how many plants you have. Will you hire bodyguards to protect you from Dustin during a Chicago event? There's no physical ill will. I think he just doesn't like me being around when he's doing stuff. I don't know. I can't speak for him. All I know is I was blocked during his live stream. That's all that I know. He has a message me and said, hey, I blocked you for this. Are you going to the Aquatic Experience? I am. We will be there. I'm arriving Thursday. I'll be there all day Friday, all day Saturday, and probably maybe an hour in the morning on Sunday, if at all. We're leaving Sunday afternoon. Is this just a Q&A? Right now, it kind of is. It turned into one. Your site is unreal. Thank you, Mike. We're actually going to be redoing the website here shortly. I'm working on stuff. My Cloudophora, or moss ball, it is growing through the whole tank now. How can I kill it? Keep pulling it out of my tank manually, but it's back within 2 weeks. So is it the actual moss ball or is it Cloudophora? Because even though they say like it's the same type of algae, it's really not. I mean, I don't know, like I haven't read anything on it, but from my experience with Cloudophora and with moss balls, it's not the same thing. People say it's the same. It's not. Cloudophora is more of a nuisance algae. It spreads. It's not. It's not. You know, it's not like a moss ball. Excited to see it. Thank you. How big will the swords be in the plant pack, and how many? So right now it's going to be anywhere between three or four different species. I haven't decided exactly yet. I'm waiting on my supplier till next week to find out exactly what they have so I can order it. But, oh, hold on one second. But it will be at least 3 species. Just in the middle of live streaming, so Walter, come on. All right, we got Kevin Kelly. Do you feel like joining, or you wanna just go to work?
What are we doing right now?
I'm just talking. I got about 15 minutes left,
Okay.
and then I'm gonna kill it and do whatever.
Okay, just go.
All right, yeah. Kevin Kelly's in the house. Let's see. The contortionella is propagating with runners and plants, but getting no higher than about 6 inches. That could just be your light. Maybe it's just not enough light or too much light, and that's why it's growing compact. You're welcome. Occasional. I got some trimmings in the bank. Nice. Don't forget to change the daylight savings times if that occurs in Chicago on Sunday the 5th. Oh, that's good to know. Hey, come here. Walter. Walter, come here. Come here. Leave Kevin alone. Walter wants to bite him. Come here. It's okay. If you had to choose a plant to battle algae, which one would it be? Gary Lang says he chooses white sprite. Probably water sprite, you meant. I would agree. Water sprite is a relentless plant. It grows like crazy. It's just going to absorb nutrients. It'll block light. It can essentially just kind of outcast everything. The only problem with that is if you outcompete all your other plants, like say if you leave it floating, you'll probably kill most of your other plants. I got a question for you, Kevin.
Okay.
They say, Kevin, what are your top 5 stem plants? I want something cool like Ordorio Hygro.
Oh. I'll be there in a sec.
All right. He's going to come answer your questions. What's up, Amber? How's it going? Yeah, water sprite's a really good one. What's that say?
Get that?
Oh, come on! Now this video is going to be flagged. No advertisements allowed. It's not advertiser friendly. I hope you didn't get marker on my table. Of course you did, probably.
I use paper towel.
Oh.
So, stem plants. I actually like the Syngallis species, believe it or not, the most. Right now my favorite is the Syngallis giant, which stays small and round, only grows to be like 4 inches high. It's a nice little accent plant, especially for nano-tanks. Rotella Hurrah?
Hurrah. Yeah. Or, yeah, however you want to pronounce it. Which mine's actually growing back now.
Nice.
All the stems were bare because of the CO2 issues with that one tank. Got covered in algae, and now it's sprouting all new. Stems were bare.
Really?
Like bare, covered in green
tough
algae.
plants, believe it or not.
And it all came back, yeah.
Most Rotellas you can abuse the hell out of, and they'll be fine.
Yeah.
Let's see, top 5. Well, obviously, butterfly.
Butterfly's nice. Rotella butterfly mini.
Mini. beautiful, tight, compact growth if you want. You can make a dome shape if you want to. One of my tricks is once you get your basic area grown in and rooted into the substrate, you don't have to actually plant it anymore. You just take the mass, trim it, plug it back in, and it'll hold itself together, and eventually the roots will drop down to the substrate, so you can trim it in these big bowls.
Right.
3 Pakistanium Hellerefi.
Downway.
Downway. And I mean, technically, Monte Carlo and baby dwarf tears are stem plants. So
that is true.
I do a lot of nano tanks for myself, so I always go for the smaller plants.
Yeah, and Kevin's the high tech guy, so I know we got a lot of people that are just like, how do I keep Anubis alive? So you're opening them up to a whole new world. But we do have some people here that try to emulate stuff that like people like you and other people do. So
sorry I'm late. There's like 5 accidents on the way here.
I believe it. Well, I was able to go to the pet shop, grab Sam, grab assassin snails, and head on back here. So
there we go.
Yeah.
Putting your calcium in the water for the assassin snails.
Well, so I tried them in the other 2 tanks, and they both died in both tanks. It's completely separate. And now I'm going to put them in this tank right here. Before I put them in, I'm going to do like a 75% water change just to... Well, because there's nothing else in it, so I don't got to worry about anything. But I'm going to do a 75% water change, and then hopefully there's nothing in there that's going to kill them, because I think it was too high GH or something, from lack of water changes, so... Kyle says, hey, now I carpet Downway.
Yep, I've done that. It's great. It's beautiful.
Actually, in the new tank, we might be doing Downway as well.
You have in the right-hand corner.
Yeah. Back. Do you aquascape freshwater or saltwater, Kevin?
Mostly freshwater.
Yeah, have you done saltwater?
I've done the hardscape for saltwater tanks.
Okay.
I don't mess with saltwater just because of... people are going to hate me for this, but I don't like the crowd.
Yeah. So people are asking who you are and what is his channel. Do you have a YouTube channel?
We have a couple of videos up on YouTube. Nothing. I normally just use it for instructional stuff.
Okay.
But that's going to change hopefully next year.
Yeah. So he's Brooklyn Hardscapes. Kevin's actually going to be working with us very soon. I was explaining in the beginning of the video we're going to start doing lots more hardscapes. He does aquascaping for a professional career. He competes in competitions and also does them privately for businesses and clients at their homes or places of work. So we're going to be collabing on a bunch of stuff soon. So you too can own a Kevin Kelly. But if Brooklyn Hardscape on YouTube, or is it...
No, Brooklyn Hardscape on YouTube.
All right, Brooklyn Hardscape on YouTube and Brooklyn_Hardscape on Instagram. You can find him at...
We're posting actually a video this weekend on how to do perspective.
Okay.
For instance, properly.
Okay. Nice.
So yeah, it's gonna. I'm doing a speech at Guapa this weekend.
Yeah, you told me that.
So it'll be a video to follow up my speech.
Nice. Which do you recommend, charcoal or Purigen?
Purigen. Charcoal is only useful for the first month of a planted tank. After that, there's no purpose for it. It takes out everything the plants want to eat. Collects so much the nutrients that it clogs faster. And it's just kind of a waste of money. So if you're doing plants in a tank, there's no reason for you to use charcoal.
There you go. My Ludwigia... How do you say this? I'm terrible at names.
I don't have my glasses.
Palustris?
Palustris? What is it? Turning dark green. Is this normal? Yes. The natural process of all any Ludwigias... they all want to be grown immersed. They don't like being submersed, believe it or not. So that's why you have to keep on trimming them. Once they get immersed, that's when their real sugar production happens using photosynthesis and chlorophyll. So they turn bright green so they can get as much light as possible to produce sugar to make a healthy plant. Cut that sucker off. Cut it down. Don't let it break the water, or you'll lose some of the nice color that it has.
There you go. Here, they want your link. Somebody asked, what is the best 5 tips for beginner aquascapers?
Planning. Number one tip: plan. Grow everything. Make sure you have enough money to get everything going. Don't be afraid of dry starts. Go big or go home, I think, is like also something that I'm a big fan of. Research and choose the right plants. Make sure your sources are legitimate. I'm a big fan of going to the experts in different fields when I want to know about plants. I don't normally actually go to other aquascapers. I go to botanists. So finding the right friends who know what they're talking about.
Yeah, and I mean, do you ever feel like an aquascape is done?
No.
So I know a lot of people, they're like, oh, I just want it to, come together, and it's for me, I feel like it's never done until you tear down the tank. Then it's like, okay, now it's done.
Well, that's why I put time limits on my tanks.
Oh yeah.
I do 6 to 7 months, and then I'm like, okay, if it's not done by then too bad. I'm taking it down.
Oh.
Every aquascape that I do at home is practice for professional scapes. I'm always trying new things.
Oh.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Trying a new aqua soil right now in one of my tanks, and it's I got to send them the company my review. But no ammonia when you first set it up, but even Monte Carlo growing at a snail's pace for some reason, it just doesn't like it.
Interesting. Does hardscape mean the pieces of wood and rock? Yes. So hardscape is essentially anything that isn't plants.
Right.
So, yeah. That would be the softscape. Jake says, "Look at that cute guy."
You must be talking about me because he's not talking about you.
No, he's not. Does Rotella butterfly need CO2? It does.
Absolutely.
Most things that Kevin's going to mention will most likely need CO2 and medium to highlight. I would assume.
Or extra highlight, like I like it. One of the things to remember in natural waterways, no matter where you are, the CO2 concentration is going to be higher than anything you normally put into your tanks. So I would say almost all plants need CO2 in one form or another.
Right.
Injected CO2, not liquid CO2.
Right. I was actually explaining the Excel thing that you told me about.
Yeah, one of the Excel is not so great. I'm not a big fan of it. You can get good growth for a very, very long time because your plants are existing on very little energy because of cell, kind of like squashing a cell and like making it work at half the speed.
Right.
So definitely injected CO2. I know a lot of people are really scared of it, but it's in 15 years of aquascaping, 10 years of using CO2. The only time I've ever heard of a CO2 canister exploding actually just happened 2 weeks ago. My little brother was installing a soda tap, and some idiot dropped a wrench on the CO2 tank and it shot across the room. And that guy dropped it from 25 feet up.
Jesus.
So these things you can shoot them.
Right.
There's actually a video somewhere of somebody trying to shoot a full CO2 tank and 9mm just bouncing off of it.
Damn.
Yeah.
Name some good lights. I know about Phoenix and Fluval as generic, but maybe some other brands.
Depending on your budget. Right now, I think my favorite light company is Aqua Illumination. They just came out with a freshwater light.
Is that in the United States now?
Yep, you can get it online. It's a fantastic light. I have actually grown a show tank out, one of my competition tanks, using their saltwater light.
Okay.
So I haven't had a chance to really test the freshwater light, but it's fantastic. You don't need to buy anything. It's $20 for a hanging kit. The light is about $200. It's twice as powerful as penetration-wise as a Kessel, and it's has the internet node that you can use for your phone installed in it, so you don't have to buy anything else. You buy the light, you can daisy chain them via Wi-Fi, and it's fantastic. You can ramp it. And by far, it's the most user-friendly, idiot-proof light that I've come across. Another really great light, if you really want to invest in light and you have a nano tank that you really want it to really go all out, Nanobox makes a really beautiful nano light. You got something that's like 7 to 10 gallon cube. That is the perfect light. You can grow anything with that.
Never heard of these.
Yeah, really
It's
good
interesting.
lights. If you want something a little cheaper, there's tons of companies out there. Really, what you want is you want to decide what your tank looks like and what kind of plants you're going to use, and then find the appropriate light. I think a lot of times people struggle, especially with the reds and orange and yellow plants, because they're trying to get one light that just doesn't have the light spectrum for that plant. Right. So if you got a lot of cerastone and you've got a lot of green plants, you want a light that's a little blue or heavy. If you have a whole, like you do like a Dutch tank or something with a lot of Rotella butterfly, let's say, and you need a lot of reds, you use a different light. Right. You know, light appropriate to the scape is really, really important.
These are words from a professional aquascaper. Do all professional aquascapers use CO2 injection?
Yes.
I would assume.
Almost. Depends on what again, it's if I'm going to have a tank filled with Anubias and Crypts, and these are plants that don't need a lot of CO2. They're very slow growing. Yeah. You can get away without CO2, but
yeah, it's mainly when you get into like the high tech stem plants that are, you know, all the rare stuff, and you want to grow them ridiculous. You need CO2, but like the basic stuff like Anubis, Java Fern, Amazon Swords, Vals, they'll be fine without.
I mean, it's all about what you want. I have some Pinto growing under a halide. Like my 60p, and it's massive amounts of injected CO2, using EI dosing, and I'm getting a leaf a week. If you want to have growth like that, that's the way to go. Right. If you want to wait to have one leaf a month or so, then you don't need CO2.
This is true. Malaysian trumpet snails. Do you guys have them for planted tanks? I am tempted but terrified of the takeover. So I'm actually going to do a video on snails entirely. the myths, all that stuff about snails. I will say, Kevin made the suggestion to put Malaysian trumpet snails inside the goldfish tank, which is over there behind us. That substrate is white, and it's been white with no maintenance. No water change, no gravel vac, nothing. It's still white.
I mean, don't be afraid of snails. I have snails and all kinds of snails. Malaysian trumpet snails, ram's horns, pond snails. The pond snails get a little bit big. I'll just... maybe we'll get in trouble for this, but I just squash them against the glass, let the fish eat them. They love it.
Essentially, snail populations, though, can only grow to the amount of food available to them.
True.
And I'm actually going to show this in my video that I'm going to do, because my 55 got pond snails in it. I actually did this as a test. It was snail-free, 100%. I put it in a couple of pond snails to see what will happen. They're all gone. I don't have assassin snails. I don't have anything in there that eats them. The reason why they don't exist is because I don't overfeed. My glass isn't covered in algae, and I don't have any dying plant matter, or very little of it, in which case my autosynclists and my Siamese algae eaters clean up.
Just about it.
Yeah. So there's no food for them to actually eat, and therefore all you see are empty shells. So, and I've looked, like I've sat there and like looked to see. But then if you look in the other tanks that have, you know, lots of plant matter that I don't do water changes or anything on, there's lots of snails. There's lots of pond snails, and that's just because they have excess food. I typically neglect those tanks so they're able to populate and continue to proceed.
I really don't mind pond snails. I don't fight them. Clients, you know, I'll do it. I'll take all the fish out and shrimp if I see pond snails at the beginning for a client, and then I'll just take a piece of copper wire and leave it in there for a week, and then do 100% water change, and it kills everything.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
If you don't want snails, that's how you do a mass genocide. But you know, there's this whole thing, I guess maybe started years ago, that pond snails are terrible. They're going to eat your plants and whatever else they may. I feel like they are only eating dying plant matter if they're eating.
Yeah, they're just eating. I mean, they're not killing fish. They're not.
Oh shit! Honey hit the wire.
Uh-oh.
Honey hit the wire.
A great place to stop.
Yeah, no, it's still working. It's just she hit the wire. Hold on. Really, honey? Why did you have to hit the wire? Wait a minute. I think if I do this...
Does this have the built-in underneath?
What?
The mat's built in underneath.
Well, no, it's stuck to it.
Yeah.
I think I might have just broke it. Who knows? Let's see. I don't know. I think we broke it.
Do you need to plug it back in?
No.
Oh, dog kiss.
I don't know if it's... Did she actually break it? Let's see. Alright, maybe...
Are you done?
Hold on. Let's see here. Where the hell? I hate this thing sometimes. Why do you do this to me?
Oh, is that the baby picture?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Babies.
Oh, okay, we're back. I don't know what... Well, honey... No, you get out from under there. Go. Sorry about that.
Okay.
She hit the wire here. All right, we're gonna answer the last couple questions here, and then we're gonna go because Kevin's got work to do, and so do I.
I mean, whenever you're done.
Let's see. Thoughts on T5 lighting? I have a quad T5 HO set up on my 75 gallon.
Oh, I am all about T5 lighting for multiple different reasons. To get the light spectrum out of a T5 for an LED, you would need a light. You can get one T5 tube, and you would need a light 7 times the size to get the same light spectrum out.
Don't talk shit about my LEDs.
I'm gonna, screw LEDs. I mean, I use them for some tanks. Like I said, there's a light for every tank. But T5s and halides are still, if I'm gonna do a tank that I want people to see, then that's where I go.
No, is that because they put off like better colors, like for visual standpoint, just looking at it, nothing to do with plant growth?
Yeah,
they look better. You think?
Looks better. You get better colors. Chloroform.
Chloroform? Kevin, what have you been doing?
I'm thinking about you later.
Yeah.
The chlorophyll gets greener.
Smell my dead cat.
The anthocyanins. I'm just screwing up words right now. Really bad. Basically, the reds get redder. The greens get greener. Go with Geisman bulbs. Geisman makes the best T5s. The tropical is one of my favorites. It's just a beautiful color. After the first month, and the bulb fully breaks in, you can't beat it. It's absolutely a wonderful light. So T5s, absolutely. Not only that, but because I do really high light, I have two Kessel 160s do the same work for me that T5s do. It's the same wattage in the end anyway.
So if cost wasn't an issue, right? If the T5s were the same price as LEDs, what would you go with?
I would go with T5s every single time, or halides depending on if it's a deep tank.
Right. Next question: will using multiple lights increase par in a tank?
Yeah, you can piggyback. You can do that depending on the light. Some lights are just weak. Let's use Kessel again. Kessel has a max penetration for like I said, I use very high light, so Kessel just doesn't take me to where I have to go because the light diffusion as soon as it hits the water is just not useful. You're getting too many blues and yellows.
What would you recommend for a beginner to use a wood 2x4 stand or a bought wire metal rack from Lowe's or Home Depot? If you're good with tools, I would say build your own stand. If you're somebody that, like me, that took me 6 weeks to build this, definitely don't do that.
Or you're somebody like me that lives in a shoebox apartment in New York City.
Yeah, that too. The racks work great. As you can see, the tank behind us over there is on one of the Lowe's racks. I also have more over here that are on the Lowe's racks. They work great, depending on the size of the aquarium. I feel like if you were to get this size rack, you can't put a 10-gallon tank in the middle. It'll just fall through. So you need something that kind of sits on all 4 sides, and distributes the weight evenly.
You can also check restaurant and medical supply surplus. For some reason, there are a lot of sizes that fit a lot of nice tanks. You get stainless steel table, and it looks nice. If you want to put like a wood front on it, you can go DIY and get some magnets and cut some wood and just stick it right on there.
Somebody says setting up a new 40-gallon breeder this week. Went all in with CO2 and lights. Thanks for the great tips, Kevin. Make sure you include a gold mystery snail too. What EI calculator do you use? I just started EI method, but I feel like I'm doing it wrong.
I started out using what is it, Butterfly?
Rotella Butterfly.
Now I have my own EI depending on the tank. It's all about I just test.
Yeah. Once you get down like the basics of it, then you can start seeing how plants grow, and you can start tweaking things. You could add a little too much of something, and then you know, see what how the plants react really to it. You know,
that's a rabbit hole for me. I have a background in chemistry,
right.
so every tank's dosing is very, very different unless I go out of town, and then I have, you know, like standard, basically based on butterfly. But I change my dosing per week for every tank.
Yeah, because I mean, some plants will absorb different nutrients at different rates, and
that's the problem with the eye. It's not a cookie color.
Yeah,
no dosing.
It's just a general guide. Yeah. Like, if you put all this in, all your plants should use some of it, and then that's why they say do a 50% water change.
But then you have like hydropin, and that's a nutrient hog. So if you put that near, let's say, Rotella wallacei, literally the nutrients it just hogs it up.
Yeah, the same thing with like red tiger lotus. That thing just absorbs nutrients.
Everything. It destroys aqua soil. You should never put it in aqua soil.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just powderizes it.
I have autosynchronous Bursinos plecos in a tank for algae control, except BBA that is in my tank using Excel for BBA.
I do a 2-hit. I'll turn off the water flow. I will hit the BBA with hydrogen peroxide. Let it sit for 20 minutes, and then I'll whack it again with some Excel. It'll be white the next day or the day after. It's like the 1-2 punch. You can actually Google it. A guy came up with a method of doing that on planettank.net. It's a really good system. Use it. It's really simple.
Metal halide versus mercury vapor for freshwater plants.
Halide.
Halide. All right, let's go down.
Especially now because there's a lot of plant growers that are a lot of specific types of. Can we say marijuana?
What?
The marijuana legalization has really there are a lot of people still using halides, and
you just can't like curse or anything.
Okay.
Yeah, or draw the male genitalia on napkins and flesh.
I didn't know it was going to be like that.
Well, luckily, unless somebody flags the video, YouTube's algorithm won't be able to see the picture.
Right.
Unless they've discovered how to check imagery too in the photos.
Depending on what you want. Metal halide. There's all kinds of colors of metal halide now. But it's important to remember that Kelvin does not equal color. So there's a company that I get my 55K bulbs from, and I like them because for this one tank that I have, my 60P, it's a very, very green tank, and even though it's 55K, internet logic would tell you that it would be red, but this company's 55K is actually very green. So the greens really, really pop, and that's what I wanted. So just talk to somebody and get their references. Kelvin doesn't equal color, and find a bulb that you want. Most bulbs now are really cheap too, because they're get them for $15, $16. Test them out, toss them if you don't want them. Sell them to your grandmother, whatever you need to do.
Okay, so let's enter like the next couple questions quickly here, and then we'll wrap it up. My Ludugia repens Arcuta won't grow at all. Any ideas why? It's also an eco-complete, although now I'm letting it float.
Let it float and see if it grows. If it's not growing, test your water parameters. Just go through the motions. It's a really easy plant to grow. You might not be getting enough CO2. Let it grow out on the water surface and see if you can take the offshoots, lay the stem horizontal on the substrate, and see if you can get it to root that way. Sometimes it just needs some time to convert to the water.
Is it true that T-bulbs lose its efficiencies over time due to the gases burning out?
Yes.
Okay.
I replace my T5s about every 8 months.
How do you feel about using 10 plus K high output T5s? I'm running 10K and 20K on my 100-gallon and really love the spectrum. It looks great along with 65K lights.
65K is great. Again, it all depends on the company that makes the light and the color output. I'll say it again, Kelvin does not equal light. Kelvin does not equal color, excuse me. I have a 10K bulb that actually has a lot of reds in it. It's for pot farming, and it's really, really heavy in red, and it looks beautiful with the reds and yellow plants that I had on it.
All right. My Java friend has BBA on its roots, which I do. Most likely trim it off.
Yeah, just cut it off.
Yeah. Any tips for colorblind folks? Testing can be tricky.
I'm colorblind, greens and reds.
So Kevin's over here talking about colors. Meanwhile, all he sees is grays. Looks at a tank. Oh, that's a beautiful color of gray or shade of gray.
I've just learned to match color or get a friend. One club that I used to be in, I used to be notorious when I cared about that stuff that much. About posting pictures online and being like, can somebody please tell me what this says?
Do you make your own GH booster? If so, do you use calcium sulfate? Any tricks for getting it to dissolve?
I do not have the room to make my own ferts at this time. Maybe one of these days I'll just take over Justin's basement. But yes, that's one of the chemicals that I use if I was making a GH booster. Sometimes I've made a solution with citric acid and a couple other things as well. So
we could be Breaking Bad, and this could be our chemistry lab. Alright, I think that's about it. That's all the questions. We got through them all, it looks like. Is it still for pot farming? I don't know what that's in reference to. Maybe something I said. But, alright, so we're at our hour mark, guys. Me and Kevin got stuff to go do. Maybe Kevin will join us on another live stream, either through here or maybe Skype or something, because
yeah, we can do that. We can do. And also, we'll be in AE next weekend.
Oh yeah, we're both going to be in Aquatic Experience this weekend. Kevin's competing in the what is it? The
large and the nano.
Oh, the large and the nano scaping contest.
Iron Manning it.
Which he's definitely not going to win.
No. I don't try to win. I just do things to annoy the winners.
he does things to piss off everybody because they're all like, "That's not the way you scape a tank."
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. But yeah. All right, guys. So I'll see you on next Wednesday. We'll live stream next Wednesday, and if you're not following us on Facebook, you should go head on over and do that, because while we're in AE, I'm probably going to be live streaming most of it. Both Kevin putting together his tank, the other Aquascapers, and whatever else is going on. So make sure you check out Facebook, because it'll go up on that, and maybe we'll see Kevin in another live stream soon. So I'll see you later. Make sure you go check Kevin out, Brooklyn Hardscape on Instagram and YouTube.